He knocked me over. I landed on the dog bowl.
This one's wife. Well, that's a dumbass move. Hello, I'm H.G. Tudor. There are some people that think that this one's wife is a conniving, calculating, planning individual. There are aspects of her life that are planned. For instance, if there is a new campaign or initiative, this is invariably at the behest of her advisors. But when it comes to her manipulations, they're instinctive. And the reason that you can tell that there isn't the calculation is as a consequence of the repeated fractures in the facade, which have been well documented by me, and the fact that so many of the things that she does then has collateral consequences, which, to put it bluntly, come back to bite her on the backside. An aware narcissist, one that thinks ahead, that plans, considers the various outcomes of the steps that they will take to ensure that the prime aims not only are attained in the moment, but that they're also not affected adversely going forward. This one's wife's narcissism does not function in that way. It is solely preoccupied with the here and the now. This particular instant, right now, and now this one, and now this one, and now this one. Moment by moment. That is common amongst the vast majority of narcissists, and it's why so many narcissists are hypocrites and contrarians, because what they say at this point is unrelated, unless the narcissism needs it to be related, to what they say at this point. What matters is the prime aims, not consistency of view, not consistency of behavior, but the prime aims. So at 9 a.m, if the narcissist can get the prime aims by saying, gosh, I really like what you're wearing, it really suits you, that dress, that's what happens. If at 9:15 a.m, in order to get to the prime aims of, say, control and fuel, it is necessary for the narcissist to say, Christ almighty, what are you wearing? You look like you've been dragged through a hedge backwards. They will do so. They do not see any discrepancy between what was said at 9 a.m. and what is now being said at 9:15, because their narcissism revises history. What happened at 9 a.m. has evaporated into the ether. You, of course, think to yourself, wait a moment, at 9 a.m. you complimented me on what I'm wearing, 15 minutes later you're criticising it. What's going on? But the narcissist is unconcerned by that, because the narcissist has no emotional empathy, compartmentalises and operates in the moment. Thus we see this repeatedly with this one's wife, that she does something in the moment which then has repercussions. Primarily, examples would be what she wears, which she thinks she looks fantastic in, which then draws ridicule. The way, for instance, in order to assert control in the moment, she elbows Harry out of the way, which makes her look like a twat. The way that she looks for the camera, which is her way of asserting control in that moment, and then has the impact, of course, of making her look thirsty for the attention. You'll find example after example after example of the ways that this one's wife will do something in the now which will then have some collateral consequence which actually works against her. But remember, from her perspective, it doesn't. Because when she gets to that collateral consequence, her narcissism will never ever let her accept that she's the problem. It just continues to kick the can down the street. We have another example of this, which ostensibly is a dumb-ass move. This relates to another PR puff piece, this time courtesy of Jack Royston, pro-Sussex journalist at Newsweek, who's taken it upon himself, via, of course, the diktat of make this one's wife look good, to supposedly herald her empathic and caring side, but doing so with a complete piece of gutter trash. The article states, this one's wife and Chrissy Teigen forged a bond after both experiencing baby loss and talking about it publicly. Chrissy Teigen has been well documented by me as to her narcissism and the fact that she's an odious human being, completely oblivious to the way that she behaves, self-serving, publicising every aspect of her life without consideration for how it impacts on people, and of course her well-documented online behaviour. She really is an unpleasant individual. So this one's wife, who operates this facade of being a supposedly pleasant and caring person, you think, why on earth would you want to hook up with such a piece of gutter trash? Well, the fact is that, once again, her narcissism says, do that, that's a good idea, it'll make you look good, whereas much of the world will go, why on earth would you want to be seen pairing up, allying with this individual, and moreover, then ensuring that a PR puff piece is generated heralding this? The article continues by explaining the Duchess of Sussex reached out to the TV personality and cookbook author after learning Teigen had lost her unborn child, Jack. This one's wife wrote an essay for the New York Times in December 2020 after experiencing a miscarriage in July that year, bringing up the past. And if I remember correctly, much of what she wrote was lifted from somebody else's experience, character trait acquisition. Teigen told Andy Cohen how kind the royal was during an appearance on Watch What Happens Live with Andy Cohen in April 2021, a month after this one's wife's bombshell Oprah Winfrey interview, bringing up the past. Notice this PR puff piece is desperately trying to tell you, see how kind this one's wife is. She contacted Teigen in difficult circumstances, but all it does is bring up the past in relation to an event that many people think was fabricated and links her to an individual that isn't particularly pleasant. It backfires once again. She had written me about baby Jack and loss, Teigen said. She is really wonderful and so kind, just as kind as everyone says she is. That's why you look at everything and you're like, my God, what is absolutely wrong with people that they have to make this person out to be so malicious or so crazy, when it's just as simple as them being as kind as everyone says they are? Well, Teigen, first of all, you're hardly the benchmark for ascertaining kindness and empathy, given your own behaviour. Furthermore, this is blatant PR puffery in an attempt to cause people to believe that this one's wife is kind. Kind as everyone says she is. Who's this then? Paid flunkies? People who've got an agenda item with this one's wife because much of the world recognises she's not kind at all. After all, what about the elder abuse of Prince Philip and the late Queen Elizabeth? What about the way that she's treated her father, her half-siblings? What about the way that she has treated Princess Charlotte? Kind person? Really? It isn't the case that everyone says she is. That is the view that this one's wife wants to put out. She wants everyone to say that she's kind. And here, Teigen has fallen into the role of being a cheerleader for this one's wife. And Newsweek has decided to bring this up, which is an ill-conceived move, given that, one, it doesn't ring true, and two, coming from Teigen, it's hardly a ringing endorsement. Teigen said she also contacted this one's wife after the Oprah interview, and she praised her friend on Watch What Happens Live. When I ended up watching it, Teigen said, it was like, holy shit, this is big. But I waited a long time to watch it, and so I'd already heard so much about it by the time that I got to it. But yeah, it is very eye-opening. Teigen said this one's wife had been very open and added, I think honestly, her truth has been her truth since the very beginning. Thanks for that insight. Load of fucking word salad there from that numbskull. It then goes on to report the fact that they stayed in touch in relation to the jam scam. We don't need to go through all of that again. And it continues by explaining, while the two have become closer in recent years, they go much further back than 2020. In fact, they first met in 2007, when they both starred as Suitcase Girls on NBC's Deal or No Deal. They teamed up again in the 2014 DirecTV Beach Bowl in New York City. The pair posed together with the trophy at the pre-Super Bowl flag football game at Pier 40 on February the 4th, 2014. So thanks for that, Jack Royston. An article about the past, bringing up the past in order to try and make this one's wife look good, but it quite simply is a dumbass move. It's entirely transparent as to what you're doing, and seeking endorsement from Chrissy Teigen demonstrates you really are running out of people to go to if you have to turn to her. Doesn't look good again, does it, for this one's wife? I'm HG Tudor. Thank you for listening.